So welcome and thank you all for coming. My name is Kara Visatha. I joined WUSADA as a Fund Match Coordinator in 2018, and now I'm part of the Global Connect team for the last year, where I help companies gain access to markets all over the world. Working with and helping companies achieve such success with their high quality, pristine Western US based products has been rewarding and very exciting. As you all know at WUSADA, our vision is to see agricultural businesses from the Western US flourishing in the global marketplace. This year has started off with some challenges, activities getting canceled and postponed, forcing us to rethink how we offer our services for the time being. Despite these challenges, WUSADA remains the same at our core and intends to continue connecting businesses to global markets in a professional, superior, and innovative manner. WUSADA is an independent, nonprofit agricultural trade association with 40 years experience assisting exporters in global markets. We have a global network of resources made possible through two essential partners. At the federal level, the Foreign Agricultural Service provides a network of agricultural trade officers stationed around the globe to access to federally planned trade missions through USDA, and most importantly, funding through the Market Access Program, authorized through the Federal Farm Bill. At the state level, through 13 member states plus American Samoa, we work hard in hand with each State Department of Agriculture's market access programs to serve agricultural businesses such as yourself. Today, I'm excited to share that 70% of our member states have a business represented on this call. So that's very exciting to see. Those of you who are new to WUSADA should know that we offer a variety of services that when used together will maximize your success entering and succeeding in the global markets. Global Connect is generally where you will find activities related to trade shows, buyer to business meetings, and business consultations. Fund Match is a cost share reimbursement program to help minimize your costs when just starting out in a new global market. Export education is where you can learn about what other services you can benefit from and how to take advantage of what we offer here at WUSADA. The combinations of how you can utilize our programs are extensive, and our staff is available to help you identify areas where you might benefit from participating in one or more of our programs at the same time. We are excited to be most of the way through the Market Overview seminar series. We started in late March with the Mexico Market Overview. We have also covered Korea and Europe, but today we're thrilled to bring you an overview on the China market. Next, our overview on Japan will be Wednesday, June 24th at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And our last market overview will feature the Philippines, and it's scheduled for early July. After this, we will move into phase 2 of our virtual opportunities, where we will have opportunities to meet with our in-country representatives for a small participation fee to get a business product-specific market consultation. Finally, we will be working on virtual trade show opportunities and virtual buyer-to-business meetings. We pride ourselves on high quality and professional delivery options, and we are working closely with our contractors and funders to make sure we identify the best option before we open these opportunities up. We greatly appreciate your patience as we explore these new techniques and efforts. And as a reminder, these webinars are recorded and they will be posted to our website a few days shortly after. If you have missed any of the earlier ones, you can also find those on our website. Today, I am excited to offer WUSADA's 4th market overview featuring the China market. And it's an honor to introduce Roger Zhang and his team. He has worked with WUSADA as an in-country representative for over a decade and has a wealth of information. Roger Zhang is the co-founder and CEO at SMH International Limited. In 1995, he became a member of SMH upon invitation from the founder and has contributed to the success of the company ever since. Roger and his team show a relentless level of service and dedication to the Western United States companies. They are always enthusiastic and innovative in finding strategies to bring Western products to the Chinese market. Roger plays the role of strategic planning, project monitoring, and activity quality control at SMH. He has worked on projects for different clients, including WUSADA, covering the aspects of trade shows, inbound, outbound trade missions, in-store promotions, menu promotions, press conferences, seminars, showcase events, and market research. Deeply rooted in the imported food and agriculture industry in China and Hong Kong, Roger, together with SMH, has been assisting overseas organizations and companies in accessing or penetrating the China-Hong Kong market for over 20 years. So now let me go ahead and hand it over to you guys, SMH.
Okay, and good afternoon, everyone. And thanks for the Kara to introduce SMH. And I'm Roger Zhang, and as the WUSADA reps here. I'm based in Shanghai. Shanghai is our headquarters. Also, we have the branch office in Guangzhou and Hong Kong as well. Today, I'm glad to introduce my few colleagues. Yan, and he is our the supervisor for the WUSADA projects in mainland China. Yan, please say hello to everyone. And also, I want to introduce Debbie, and she is our reps for Hong Kong market. Debbie, please.
Hi, glad to see you all.
Okay, and so for today, and for SMH, like the Kara mentioned, we got the almost 20 years the market experience in China and Hong Kong, and also I look back, and we are working for WUSADA projects over 16 years already. So I'm glad, that we got this opportunity to see you online to discuss the Chinese market. And also I know that in the US, in the China, and globally, we are facing some of the challenges because, the virus, the various issues. So in this situation, how to do the business in China and Hong Kong is the new challenges for us. So we will discuss some of the new ideas, some of the new suggestions for all of you. So I hand over to my colleague, Yan, and he will talking about the market situation in mainland China. Yan, please.
Thank you everyone for joining this webinar. I hope today, the things that we talk about today will be helpful for you as far as better understanding the China market. So today's webinar, we're covering 6 parts. So we have market overview, trade opportunities and challenges, and we're going to update a little bit about the tariff situation as well as the COVID-19 situation. And we're going to get into some market strategy as well as a preview of our activities for this year and beyond. So to start things off, I'll start with an overview for mainland China. With 1.39 billion people today, China is has the largest population in the world today. And we're estimated that it's going to grow to 1.4 billion within 10 years' time. So, and even with the 6.1 GDP growth in 2019, it is the slowest in about 30 years, but it is still considered quite robust amongst the most major economies in the world. And on an individual level, GDP per capita has actually grown above 10,000 USD for the first time ever. And with a growing disposable income, we're seeing Chinese consumers, not only becoming more able to purchase imported products, but they're willing to purchase as well. And for China's economy, as you can see on the chart, the economy has been growing for the past decade and very much for the past 30 years since China opened up its economy to the world. Although it will be quite difficult, it's actually challenging for the economy to continue to grow at a rapid level. So 6% or higher is unlikely to continue, but it is still going to consider to be quite strong for the next foreseeable future. Although in the first quarter of this year, the economy actually plunged by 6.8%, which is mostly because of COVID-19, which basically stopped the economy for about 2 months here in China. And this has caused China, the government, to abandon any GDP targets for the first time in decades. Now, as for China's trading with the world, China is the second largest consumer market as well as the importer in the world. And as you can see on the chart on the right, China is importing more and more products and exporting less in the past few years. And in 2019, China imported over $150.9 billion of agricultural products from the world, which represented 10% increase from 2018. Now, as far as China's trading with the U.S., China imported $13.8 billion worth of agricultural and related products in 2019. And surprisingly, it's actually a 51% increase from 2018, which is quite a bounce back from 2018, where the trade tension started and import plunged. And you can also notice from the chart that while bulk and intermediate products have been down, consumer-oriented products have actually gone up quite a bit. And I think this is going to be a trend that is going to continue for the next few years. Now, to dive even deeper into specific products, you can see on the top right here that meat products, proteins are basically the most in-demand type of products in 2019 from the US, especially for meat product like pork and beef. This is because in last year, China had a domestic shortage because of the African swine fever, which basically decimated the domestic supply for pork. So China needed, as China is the largest consumer of pork, it needs to find other sources to supply its meat to the domestic market. So this opens up a lot of opportunities for other countries to export their protein products, so not just pork, but also beef, also seafood, and even poultry, and as well as plant-based products. And other commodities that we're seeing the biggest growth in 2019 and beyond are tree nuts, pet food, as well as prepared food. Especially for tree nuts and pet food, their growth has been quite surprising, actually. And as for the retail market, I'm going to get into a little bit of facts that I'll share with you today. With nearly $6 trillion in retail sales of consumer goods in 2019, China is actually took over the U.S. as the largest consumer retail market in the world. And second tier and third tier cities, which I think some of you might know, but there's an unofficial ranking of tiers as far as cities in China. So that is based on their economic power as well as other factors like standards of living and other things. So where I am right now in Shanghai, or Beijing, they're called first tier cities. So these are the most powerful cities in China. But we're actually seeing more growth as far as consumption of imported foods in second tier and third tier cities. So for example, two specific markets, Chengdu and Shenyang. These are two of the largest second tier markets in China, and they're leading China's economic expansion into international trade and commerce. Still, nonetheless, major cities like Shanghai are still leading the way as far as the national trend for food or anything retail. So a new entrance into China would usually go through Shanghai first. Once it becomes popular in Shanghai or other first tier cities, then it becomes adapted into second tier and third tier cities. And cities such as Beijing and Guangzhou, although they're not quite as influential as Shanghai, they are still important centers of innovation. And this innovation includes e-commerce. The e-commerce market, online sales are continuing to grow, but we're also seeing more consumers going back to physical stores to buy things. And this has led to an innovation as far as what we call new retail, which is basically online to offline sales. So some of you may know there's a supermarket in China that's called Hema, and that is a store where you can purchase your groceries online, and then have it delivered from an offline store within, say, half an hour to anywhere. So a little bit more about e-commerce in China. The e-commerce sector in China is basically divided between traditional e-commerce and cross-border e-commerce. So as a whole, the e-commerce market in China is a $1.5 billion market, and online sales in 2019 actually grew by almost 20%, which is significantly higher than store-based retail. And with 855 million online consumers, we're talking about a population that is almost 3 times larger than the population of the U.S. itself. So that represents a significant market for any exporters in the world. Now, we're seeing more people buying online, and in 2019, almost 37% of retail sales came from online. Now, there is basically two ways to enter the e-commerce market in China. One is the traditional e-commerce, which basically means you would need to export your product to China, set up ground staff in China, and your products will be shipped out from a warehouse somewhere in China. Now, as for cross-border e-commerce, you can skip a lot of those parts. So that offers a lot of advantage for our exporters in the US. The cross-border e-commerce in China has grew by significantly in the past few years. So imports through cross-border e-commerce grew from 800 million to $30 billion in just 6 years. And the cross-border e-commerce market is led by NetEase Koala, which has a 27% market share. And it's followed by more familiar names like Tmall and JD.com. So one of the biggest advantage as far as cross-border e-commerce is concerned is that there's no import tariffs. And the value-added tax is also 70% of the original rate. So there's less cost involved, basically. Also, there's the fact that you do not need to prepare a Chinese label. The labeling requirements is different when it comes to cross-border e-commerce. I know that we can talk about e-commerce for another hour or so, but I'm going to quickly just go over the food service sector as well, even though this is more of a retail-focused webinar. China's food service sector is a very lucrative sector, and I think that represents a huge opportunity for some of you. As you can see, sales revenue in the food service sector grew almost by 10% in 2019, and as a $600 billion market, it's catching up quickly to the U.S. for the top spot. And as you can see on the chart, most of the strongest growth is actually coming from provinces outside of first-tier cities. And first-tier cities are actually, as it becomes more mature, we're expecting growth to become slower, and more growth is going to shift to the second-tier and third-tier cities that I mentioned earlier. And as you can see on the right side of the bottom, I've listed some of the more important second-tier and third-tier cities in China. These cities basically made up over half of China's population, so there's a significant market over there. And each of these cities have a population of over 5 million and up to 15 million. So that is basically 1 to 3 small European countries that we're talking about. So each one of these cities have the potential of an entire nation in Europe. So I think it's important that we go talk a little bit about that. So that is basically my part for mainland China. For the special regions of Hong Kong and Macau, I'm going to hand over to our representative in Hong Kong, Debbie.
Sure. So thank you, Ian. Hi, everyone. My name is Debbie Sin. I'm the representative of WSADA in Hong Kong and Macau. I'm glad to meet all of you here and then to introduce the international dynamic and energetic Hong Kong markets and the Macau markets to you. So let's look closer to the Hong Kong market. If you have been to Hong Kong, you will understand that it is nearly impossible to see nobody on the street, even at midnight. So Hong Kong has a population of 7.51 million. According to the latest number in 2019, our GDP performance last year met the first annual decline since 2009. It was worth $365.10 billion US. However, Hong Kong is still one of the highest in the Asia region. Also, Hong Kong's economy was rated the freest in the world from 1995 through 2019. So 2019 was an unfortunate year for Hong Kong and to the world. We are here facing global economic slowdown, US-China trade tensions, and also social movements, which caused decreased numbers of visitors arrived in Hong Kong, and the close down of some shops and restaurants. In 2020, Simpson Luck hasn't yet arrived in Hong Kong due to the coronavirus pandemic started from this February. Hong Kong economies in the first quarter contracted by 8.9% in the first quarter of this year, over a year earlier. However, we foresee the economy will be recovered in the second half year as the we have a good control of coronavirus outbreak in Hong Kong, and then a strong fiscal support from the Hong Kong government. So to understand deeper about the trade environment in Hong Kong, due to the limited arable land, Hong Kong people rely on imported food products. About 95% of this food supply is imported from different countries, and US exports of consumer-oriented agricultural products to Hong Kong were 3.8 billion, making it the 5th largest export market for US consumer-oriented agricultural products by value, importing more than mainland China and Taiwan. Yeah, so we can take a look at the above chart. Sorry, Ian, the next slide, please. Yeah. We can take a look at the above chart to understand the most popular products exported to Hong Kong last year. We have to pay more attention is that meat products, snack products, condiments and sauce, and processed vegetables are the best growth of consumer-oriented agricultural imports in 2019. The export value increased from 2% to 13%. So as a Hong Konger, I love shopping and visiting different stores, as there are always different retail stores or grocery stores nearby. Our retail market is strong and potential. You can see from the table, the retail sales in supermarket and department stores remain increasing, even in the frustrating year of 2019. In June, especially, the supermarket and department store sales has raised 1.6% year over year. So buyers are being more price sensitive these years as the expensive neighbor and land are resulting in a significant product market sale. To understand what the Hong Kong customers are looking for, it is important to know our trends. So Hong Kong people are having higher purchasing power, and we are gaining more knowledge about the food safety and the benefits of foods. So we are requiring more than the taste itself, but also the health benefits, and is it an easier way to store or handle the food products. So there are also more premium outlets opening on the market, which offer important government products. American food products have good reputation of this food safety and high quality. So this makes American food products popular on the market. So we will then talk about the new and developing shopping experiences of Hong Kong customers. Traditional retailers such as the largest chain, Welcome and PARKnSHOP are offering and improving their online selling platforms and delivery services. Especially after experiencing the influence of coronavirus, we were encouraged to stay at home and then to maintain social distance. So the e-commerce market is growing. It's growing and being emphasized. And the e-commerce market in Hong Kong is worth approximately 4.8 billion, growing at an annual growth rate of 7.9%. So there are about 15,000 e-commerce companies in Hong Kong, not limited to not limited to food and beverages. And however, physical shopping is still our main practice because Hong Kong customers actually still prefer like looking and take a look at the actual products before buying it. And then there are more selections, there are more options we can see at the physical stores. So now maybe we can jump to the HRI sector in Hong Kong. The HRI food service market in Hong Kong is made up of hotels, restaurants, and institutes, with most food and beverages sales at restaurants. So people here have the dine-out habit due to our busy schedules of workers and a smaller place to store food and then to handle food and cook at home. So in 2019, Hong Kong was the most visited city with 26.7 million visitors. People from all over the world came here to travel and do business. The revenue of Hong Kong HRI sector was 14.42 billion, which also down from 2018 due to the civil unrest. Yet Hong Kong local people are still get used to dining out. So another essential function of Hong Kong is that Hong Kong is a major trading hub where buyers make purchasing decisions for different products that are transshipped to mainland China and other parts of Asia because of we are having like world-class logistical infrastructure, and then we are a tax-free port. So this are also our advantages of the Hong Kong market. And next, I'm going to I'm going to talk about the different market Macau, which is a well-known gambling capital in Asia and the world. Even though Macau is a much smaller city, it still has a gambling revenue like 3 times more than that of in Las Vegas. So many resorts, hotels, restaurants are opening up, and then which cause we are the people there, the buyers there, and then the customers there are demanding for more high quality food and beverage options. So Macau has a population of 679,000. In 2019, Macau shrank 4.2% in GDP per capita. It was the first negative GDP growth in the 3 years due to the economic uncertainties. However, number of the tourists last year reached 339.4 million, which is 10% more than the number in 2018. Macau's economy is so dependent on the numbers of visitors. In this year, due to the coronavirus situation, the growth of GDP forecast to fall 24%. However, it is estimated to see the soon recovery in 2021. Similar to Hong Kong, Macau is also facing some land constraints. So this makes Macau market really very rely on the imported food. And mainland China is its main suppliers, and the U.S. is the 4th largest in 2019, which shared 8% of the market. Yes, the above table again is showing you the top U.S. consumer-oriented agricultural exports to Macau last year, and then distilled spirits, fruit and vegetable juice species, and coffees are the best growth products, which are recorded at 18% to 31% of annual growth rate. So comparing with the HRI sector, Macau retail market is relatively minimal, and the total retail sales last year was 9.56 billion, and the sales increased 7.3%, in which reached 613 million last year. As the Macau government really intends to expand the Macau's attractions as a tourist and lecture hub, including the growth of hotels, restaurants, resorts, and HRI outlets, with the advantage of over 3 million visitors each month, Macau's world-class gambling resorts have pushed the demand for high quality and then ingredients to serve the guests and then provide to the staff for staff meals. So according to the latest data, the restaurant receipts in 2018 rose 7% to 1.47 billion in 2018. So you can see the number on the left table, and there are various types of restaurants you can see in Macau, which actually shows that operators of HRI sector, they are seeking for higher quality and more premium food products to attract more visitors to Macau and to entertain the needs of their customers. Yeah, I think that's the end of the overviews of Hong Kong and then the Macau markets. I would like to pass the time back to Ian to talk about the opportunities and challenges.
Thank you, Debbie. So all of these markets offer great opportunities for exports. So what are some of the challenges as well? So I'm going to go through that a little bit. Let's first take a look at China. Consumers in China still have huge demand for imported foods. And with the Phase 1 agreement actually opening up markets for commodities previously not open to access as well. The improving logistics system in China, especially in smaller cities and rural regions, is allowing imported food and drinks to reach new consumers further than ever before. This is helped mostly by the development of online shopping, as consumers in the far out regions of the country can now have access to the same product as those in the coastal region. Also, consumers are asking more and more for safe and healthy products. And this is something that the U.S. has a great reputation in and can supply to the market immediately. Now, on the other hand, there are also some challenges. So the biggest challenge right now is probably the higher cost and the longer transit time for products to ship from the U.S. to China. And this is a challenge when you consider that there are a lot of competition from other countries with free trade agreements with China. So we're talking about countries like Australia, New Zealand, Chile. These countries can ship their products to China at a very low tariff rate or even no tax at all. So, and at the same time, the US is also a little bit behind Europe as far as its reputation for ultra premium products. So countries like France, Italy, or even Spain, they have products that have a great reputation that's of certain products. So that is something that presents a challenge for the US. And also the flavor or taste of American products are still a little bit, it's still taking time to become adapted by Chinese consumers as they are still, for example, candies or chocolate, a lot of people think it's too sweet. So that is something that a lot of US producers would have to adapt, maybe to local taste. And finally, political uncertainty between China and US presents the most critical factor right now. As this volatility could go both ways for trade, it is right now most likely to have a negative effect based on what we've seen so far. Now that is basically for China. And for Hong Kong, the growing consumption for food beverage and their demand for health and high quality presents a lot of opportunities for exporters. And price concern is also less of an issue for Hong Kong because buyers over in Hong Kong are more driven by quality and trend. And meanwhile, infrastructure expansion, for example, a proposed third runway at the airport, as well as the Hong Kong Macau Zhuhai Bridge that opened last year, will reinforce Hong Kong's role as an re-export hub to mainland China as well to the Asia region. However, Hong Kong's demand for quality products is creating a lot of competition among other countries. And the Hong Kong dollar, the local currency in Hong Kong, which is pegged to the US dollar, could potentially decrease competitiveness of American products from a buyer's point of view. And speaking of buyers in Hong Kong are more limited in terms of their ordering volume because it's a smaller market comparing to mainland China. So exporters might have to accommodate smaller order quantities for any customers in Hong Kong. And finally, the political instability in the city in the past 2 years could potentially affect any trade or even consumer spending. And as for Macau, Macau's status as a major tourist attraction, like Debbie just mentioned earlier, it's considered the Las Vegas in the East, is going to bring huge opportunities for imported foods and drinks from the US. And this is especially so when you consider that Macau has the US food products have a great reputation in Macau. And with Macau's gaming sector and its world-class food service sector, it demands premium products. And this is also something that the US already has, as I said, has a great reputation in and could offer immediately to the market. And as with Hong Kong, the opening of the bridge that connects Hong Kong and mainland China with Macau will help save transport time and cost for product shipment. On the other hand, the biggest challenge for Macau is that there's a lack of direct import route. So it relies heavily on Hong Kong for products to go into Hong Kong and then transshipped to Macau. And that its dependency on Hong Kong for supply means it's less competitive than countries like China, Australia, or even New Zealand. And now this strengthening US dollar is also expected to make US products less competitive to buyers. And like buyers in Hong Kong, and even more so in Macau, because of its population size, buyers in Macau are less likely to make large orders simply because of its population. Now, for the tariff situation, which I think some of you might be interested, we'll first look back at some of the key events during the last 2 years. On April 2nd, 2018, China first retaliated on the US by imposing a 15 to 25% tariff on 128 products. And within that 128 products included a number of agricultural products. And between April 2018 and June 2019, China made other revisions and additional products to be included into the list. And on June 1st, 2019, a further 5 to 10% additional tariffs were imposed, putting the number of agricultural products affected at over 1,000. although things began to turn around in December 2019, when China called off a new round of tariffs that would have gone into effect on December 15th. And very soon after, both sides announced that an agreement was in the works. And by January 15th, 2020, this year, the US and China officially signed the Phase 1 agreement. And in the agreement, China agrees to purchase $40 billion worth of US agricultural products each year, totaling to 80 million in 2 years. And on February 14th, in February, China also announced that it will begin granting tariff exclusion on 666 US products, including 150 agricultural products. And a process for tariff exclusion was also opened to Chinese importers who import US products in March. And this is expected to help to encourage importers in China to resume buying from the US again. Now, within the Phase 1 agreement, there are a number of commodities which were included for partial or full market access, or some received expansion for their range of products eligible for market access. And this includes poultry, pork, beef, processed meat, seafood, rice, feed, vegetables, fresh fruits, as well as plant-based feed. And also China promised to streamline the timeline and procedure for registering US facilities and products, including products like pet food, seafood, dairy, rice, as well as feed. And since the turn of this year and since the signing of the Phase 1 agreement, we actually saw an uptick as far as China's importing of US agricultural products. So you can see in this chart right here, which is based on USDA data, consumer-oriented products export to China grew by 132% in the first 3 months of 2020. And the majority of commodities included in the agreement did see positive growth. So especially for poultry, as well as pork, as you can see here. However, we are expecting imports to drop considerably, mostly because of COVID-19 and how that it's affecting the US right now. And I think a lot of export would be affected as well. So whether the market recovers depends very much on how soon and when and what scale the US market will reopen. And for the next part on COVID-19, I'll hand this over to Roger, who will update us on the situation in China, Hong Kong, and Macau, so you would have an idea of what's happening on the ground over here.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I think all the attendees, you are very concerning for what's the situation about the virus outbreak in China. So as you know, the virus started from the city of the Wuhan, and I show you the map and for the location. And the Wuhan is in the center of the China. From the Shanghai to Wuhan is almost the 2 hours flight, and also from Guangzhou to Wuhan is 2 hours as well. So it's pretty central. And for the U.S., we got the U.S. consulate there in the Wuhan of the city. And I remember that is a few years ago, for Wusada, we did the transmission to to Wuhan before. Wuhan is the developed market, and also with the huge population, still is the very important market for us. However, due to the outbreak, for the virus, for the city is getting famous in the world. Currently, since the later of the January and the China lockdown of the most of the cities, right now the China control the situation is much better, even including the Wuhan. For the retail market, almost is back to the normal. Like if you go to the supermarket, still for the daily consumption for shopping, of course the more consumers rely on the online the orders and can avoid to go to the more offline stores for the more people to gather together. For the Hong Kong is same, the offlines, onlines is back to normal. But unfortunately, for the food service sector, especially for the hotel business, still is pretty quiet. As David mentioned, for the Macau is for the casino resort, and I just got the news, see the pictures, and the still is empty in the hotels. So I think if the fully recovered for the business, I think still need to take more times. For me, honestly, I don't have the very full confidence in the next 3 months, especially for the hotel business and for the food service can get the big, in progress. So I think about, for the China, still I think about right now more rely on the retail stores. So I think about for the U.S. companies, and then maybe we can take up this opportunity, can think about, how to, the access for the retail stores is pretty critical for us. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that is, I give you the very quick update about the virus situation in China, Hong Kong, and Macau. So facing this, especially the period, and we think about how to make our new marketing strategy, and we need to create our new activity is pretty important. So let's share our new marketing strategy. Later, I will talking about what for the WUSADA thinking about, what we are going to do for the companies from the WUSADA side. Okay, yeah.
Thank you, Roger. For marketing strategy, a larger focus is going to be on younger and older consumers. Both demographics have high disposable income and they're willing to spend. Although they're different in the way that millennials, they spend to impress, and seniors spend to maintain their health. So one side is looking to spend on premium products while the other is looking for healthy products that they can rely and trust. Seniors are also becoming more tech savvy than ever. And you can find a lot of older people using their smartphones to buy groceries online. So these are the main demographics that we are looking to target as far as our marketing strategy is concerned. And this means the e-commerce sector will be an important channel to market U.S. products. E-commerce companies know that, and they're starting to cooperate more with foreign suppliers to offer their services and access to the market. And specifically for China, this also means getting into the cross-border e-commerce, which continues to be a great way to access the market without putting any salesperson or staff on the ground. Also, the use of live streaming in China and Hong Kong to drive sales right now is becoming increasingly integrated with e-commerce platforms. And you can find some of the most influential live streamers or influencers now are directly cooperating with platforms such as Tmall. So this is also a strategy that we could consider. And although I believe we're risking overexposure, influencers are actually still the best way to help you gain exposure and market your products to consumers. And social media like WeChat or live stream will still be the primary tool for that purpose. There are times when brands can make up their monthly sales in one night. That is like their whole monthly sales. And while live streaming used to target lower end products, we're seeing more upscale premium products being marketed on live streaming platforms since COVID-19 started. So, and also we're seeing more celebrities making appearances or hosting their own live streaming shows to market and sell products. So that is also an important strategy that heading into the future. And this is the last part for me. So I'll hand it back to Roger to preview some of our marketing activities for WSADA.
Yes, and during our webinar period, and I got the few questions from our attendees, and so they are very concerning, how to, for the WSADA's position, how to promote the products besides some of the commodities, and we are more concerning for the media and the small size company. They are more consumer-ended products. So. And first, I understand you are very concerned about that. So we create the virtual consultation. First, the virtual consultation is just for the individual companies, for the WSADA medium and small size companies. If you have the new products, or you have the questions about this market, we can do the virtual consultation for the individual companies. And for example, you have the new packaging, the water or something like that, and we can, you can contact WSADA to sign up, and we can do the video consultation for you, and or answer your concernings or the questions. And after that, after the consultation, we will provide a very simple and brief report to answer your other concernings. Also, we will provide a potential list. And if under your requirement, we can do the marketing, the marketing competitor, the research for you in the retail stores. So you don't means you don't need to go to the China, and we will give you the more information about the market situation related to your products. Also, we can provide the potential buyer list for you, and you can fully understand what's going on, how potential about your products from your own company. That is our first activity we created, called a virtual consultation for each companies. The second activity is we will do as you know, for WSADA, every year we will doing at least 1 or 2 outbound trade mission to China. But under the current situation, it's very challenging for you and to China to meeting with the buyers. So for the WSADA, we will doing the virtual outbound trade mission, and you can sign up with the WSADA as usual, and you can send the pictures, samples, and we will arrange the one-on-one meeting online for you. And we can use the Zoom for the one-on-one meeting arrangement for the companies. So this activity is still in our planning. I think the WSADA will pretty fast to list for the virtual outbound mission for the companies. Maybe we will doing the Hong Kong market first to try, and for the virtual the outbound mission, and in the next few months. And also, and we are discussing with the USADA, we're going to attend the CEO, the trade show. As you know, normally the trade show for CEO is in May, and for this year, postponed to the end of September. So we are thinking about maybe USADA will set a generic booth, and we very welcome all companies to sign up to join with us. Not that you need to come to here. You can send a sample to us. You can send your materials to us. We can help you to distribute your products, the materials. We can, to display your samples at a generic USADA booth. Even, for the USADA booth, we will set a corner computer communication, the video conference corner, and to set the video conference for the one-on-one meeting, virtual the meetings for you, and during the show, because there's still some buyers will visit the show, and they will be at our USADA booth. We will set the meetings for you, and you can just although we are in the different cities, different countries, but we just use the technology for the click, and we can link from the Chinese buyers and for you to communicate. Also, maybe you think about, for the language, the barriers, we will set the interpret for the virtual trade meetings as well. The last, we are thinking about doing the U.S. food festival promotion. I understand, today we have some attendees, your products is in this market already. So maybe in the last few months, the sales is a little bit slow. So, and we were doing the food service and the food festival to encourage the consumer to buy the more U.S. products. So, and once we confirm some of the partners for the retail store promotion in China, we will inform you, and also we will let you know the buyer's information. You can encouraging the local agency, your local distributors to contact with our promotion partners, and your products can be of one of our SKU be promoted products at the festival. That's for this promotion. Most is more suitable for your products in this market already. That's more easier, to get the exposure, and more fast, to sales and promote your products in this market. We still have some more activities in China as well. I think the USADA will be announced at their website. And also I think about, I got another questions is for how to find the buyers in China, like some alcohol products, and definitely please contact with the USADA for sign up, and we will provide more the buyer list, and also we will find the potential buyers for you. So I think that for here, list the USADA company the information already. I think you are pretty familiar with them, and any questions, and you can contact USADA, and we are happy to working closely with you to help you for here. Carla, that is our general order presentation for this webinars. So I'm thinking maybe we are open for Q&A or.
That was great. Thank you, Roger and team, for giving us such a great presentation today. Does anybody have any questions? You can use the Q&A function. I think we had one, but it got answered. I do see one in the chat box here. It says it sounds like e-commerce, cross-border commerce means we warehouse product in the US, then send products order by order to individual customers in China.
Let me quick answer these questions. For the cross borders, normally, we suggest is your products in China market already the warehouse already, because for the online shoppings, for the consumer really expected their products can be received in when 2 days, even latest is 3 days. And so in China, we have lots different cities. They have the free trade zone, and your products put in the free trade zone, the warehouse. You don't need pay the tax at that time. Just like once the consumer for the order the products, they will pay they will pay the tax. This tax is called the post tax, is the 10%. Government change and government the charged. So normally, according to my past experience, the warehouse in China, it's more easy, like the Costco. Before they are the product, and they are not right now the Costco, they got the offline stores. Before the online stores, they are the warehouse in Ningbo and Zhejiang and Shanghai as well. So once consumer place the order from the Costco, the cross-border business, and they can deliver your products to the consumer just in the few days. That is more faster. If you need more information, because for the cross-border, it's pretty complicated business model. If you need more details information, we are happy to give more information and a direction as well.
Great, thank you. I have another question that came in from the Washington State. Has Hong Kong halted the import of agri-products from US, like soybean or pork? What about other agri-products?
Okay, and still let me answer these questions. And actually, for me, I'm based in Shanghai, but in the last 3 months, and I'm staying in Hong Kong. Right now, I'm in Hong Kong as well. Hong Kong's the consumers, the lifestyle is more international. And they try to more different new products. So I think besides the commodities, I think about the different ingredients, snack foods, beverages, and it's more the opportunities. Especially for the Hong Kong, you can see the convenience stores everywhere. So the small packaging of the consumer-oriented products, and tree nuts, the beverages, juice with the very new packagings is very popular here. And although for the Hong Kong market, and the consumer already get used for the go to the consumer go to the supermarket, and every day is they are the part of their life, because they're not like in the US big shopping for a week. Once a week, they think about the go to the supermarket is part of the life, and for every day. So I think about the small packaging and the new design with the consumer oriented and the new items will be more popular. That's the general requirement for Hong Kong market. I don't know here any of the companies handle the pet food. Hong Kong's the pet food also is a growing market as well. If you want to get more information about the pet food, you can contact us. We can share more information with you.
Thank you, Roger. Another question came in. What if product needs certification? For example, meal replacement protein shakes. Is it possible to find buyers before product registered in China?
Because this is a pretty new items as well. And how about, you know, before I answer this question, trying to give you the positive answer these questions, and let me doing some before doing some research for you, and it's a rather, you know, for such specific products, and luckily we set the, you know, individual consultation, virtual consultation for these programs for Wusada company. So maybe we can, you know, do the virtual consultation for you, and let us get more information, and we can do such kind of, you know, more information for you.
That sounds very fair. And then one last question. Can alcoholic beverages be sold through the cross-border e-commerce business model?
Of course, could be.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. So it looks like we have gone through all of the questions, and there aren't any more. So what I ask of you, and as you come up with any more questions that you have for SMH International regarding this webinar, if you could please send them to me at Wusada. So it's kara@wusada.org. And then I can get those forwarded on to Roger and his team to answer. The reason why I'm doing this is some of the times Wusada will be able to answer those questions on our own, and we can save SMH some time getting those questions to you. We also have some virtual opportunities coming up, it sounds like, working with SMH. So hopefully we can get that onto our website. Just keep looking at the calendar for those dates so we can get you signed up for any of those events. So thank you all for coming, and I hope this was as interesting as it was for me. And see you on the next webinar. Thank you.
Thanks all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.